Okay. I don't know what the hell's going on. Um, hold on, guys. Let me see if I can turn my camera around. Whoops. I don't even know what's going on. Okay, hold on. I think we're back. This is so funny.
Okay, are we live? Like look at this. I'm literally live on two different live things right now. What is going on? Oh my god. Okay, hold on. Let's figure this out here. I I don't even know what's going on, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, are we good? Are we live? Like what is going on? Somebody help me. Like I don't even know what the heck just happened. Right as my countdown finished, uh my internet like cut out. Wait, I'm so I don't even know what's going on. Thank you, Roy and Coda Kid and everybody that's here. Okay, wait. Sorry, guys. One man show here. If there was ever evidence of a one man show, it is right now. Literally, as my countdown finished, uh, the internet just went. Whoosh. My power could even flicker too. So thank you, Roy. Thank you to everybody. That was that's so good. Oh my god. Okay, give me a minute here. I apologize. Okay. I think I'm ready. Okay. Well, that sucked. Welcome to Sons Geeks post game live show, if you will. Dude, I'm having so many technical issues today. First, it was the internet. Now, like, the camera's acting up every time I move. I don't even know what my name is right now. And that sucked. This game sucked. Well, the last 5 minutes of the game sucked. All right, let's do this, y'all. Let me take a big sip of my energy drink and we'll get started. Cheers. Okay, so let me just make sure we are okay. We are live. Okay, I'm seeing it on my end. That's hilarious. I'm literally looking at the replay and what happened. That's so good. Oh my god. Anyways, y'all. All right, let's do this. So the Phoenix Suns take a rough L at the hands of the very young and upcoming Oklahoma City Thunder. And this was a game where it kind of reminded me of that Sacramento Kings game before we went on the 3-game skid. You know what I mean? That Sacramento Kings game was a game that I really wanted to win because they're obviously having a very great season. They're definitely going to make the playoffs for the first time in 16 seasons. And this was kind of a game where I sort of wanted it because in my opinion, we do have a tough schedule coming up. And even though the Thunder are young and scrappy, throughout most of the game, I felt pretty comfortable. I thought that the Suns would have been able to close this out. And then I quote tweeted somebody on Twitter who was talking about the way that the Suns ended the third quarter and how they keep putting themselves in the position of closing out quarters. And it's weird because as of late, I feel like the Suns, the way that they turn, the way that they close out quarters has been a trend. But it's weird because I thought the Suns have had pretty good third quarters up until maybe today. They didn't necessarily close out the third quarter very well. I thought they started out the fourth quarter terribly. And then that was when everything kind of started collapsing. The Thunder went on that infamous, 18-6 run. 18-6 run. And then sorry, I just lost my train of thought for a minute. And then obviously the officiating, which was really bad. And look, there's a side of me that wants to be a little optimistic. Because let's be real, there was no Kevin Durant out there. There was no DeAndre Ayton. And this was a game in which I really thought DeAndre Ayton really could have executed well in this game if he was out on the court. there's a side of me that wants to say, oh yeah, if we would have had a solid end of the third quarter, and if we would have, not went on that, if the Thunder didn't go on that 18-6 run, and if we had DeAndre Ayton and Kevin Durant, we would have won this game pretty easily, because throughout the first three quarters, I thought that we played pretty well. I mean, the biggest lead was 15, I think, at one point. So obviously the officiating was absolutely terrible. I don't know at this point. I mean, how many times did SGA get to the free throw line tonight? Let's see. Let's pull up the numbers. I just saw a quote from Monty Williams that made me mad. But anyways, yeah, SGA getting to the free throw line 16 out of 19 times. My guys, Darth Voyota says, Suns have the fourth toughest remaining schedule, with opponents having over a 500 winning percentage. Yeah, it's funny because the last few times that I've gone live and stuff, I've talked about the schedule and how I believe that it is a really tough schedule. Monty legit called a timeout and put the exact same lineup back out. 19, 8 times in the first quarter. Oh, he's talking about SGA. Yeah, thank you, Shot Chucker, for bringing that up. Yeah, so SGA goes to the free throw line 16 out of 19 times, and I think I saw people tweeting about it that SGA didn't get his first foul call until like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So there's a lot of, I guess what I'm trying to say here is there's a lot of things to blame, and there's a lot of what ifs, if you will. You obviously can blame the way we ended the third quarter, the entire fourth quarter. I thought, especially the disastrous, I can't talk, especially the terrible way we ended the fourth quarter, like that final 5 minutes when they went on that 18-6 run. You can blame the terrible officiating. I'm not even really going to rant at it at this point, because after I saw that Giannis play where he like ran through Torrey Craig and they called the foul on Torrey Craig and the Suns, that was just you know what I mean? Like it's plays like that, and it's SGA getting the free throw line 19 times, and it's all the whistles that Devin Booker doesn't get, and all the ticky-tack fouls. Like if I breathe on you and barely touch you, it's a foul. And especially when it comes to the Phoenix Suns, referees are clearly targeting. I can't speak. I can't talk. You want to go follow somebody who can talk, go check out the Suns Jam Session podcast right now. He says, popping off to do my post-game pod. Keep up the great work, Geek. Great new logo, by the way. I appreciate you, John. Go check out the Suns Jam Session podcast and John and Matt over there. They do great work, and they actually know what they're talking about, and they actually have good internet connection, unlike me. So if y'all are actually watching this show, y'all are real ones. You're absolute legends, because my mind is all over the place. The internet obviously cut out for the first 5 minutes. I'm gonna have to trim that later in the editor. Thank goodness for live stream editing. But so let's just kind of restart this show a little bit. Let's start with the start of the game, and I kind of want to break this down, and then we'll eventually get to the numbers and all that, and all that good stuff. So, the Phoenix Suns had a quick start to this game early on, 11-2 early. And that's what I was talking about earlier. I was like, guys, like for a lot of the game, it really seemed like the Phoenix Suns were in complete control of this game. We had an 11-2 lead early. The biggest lead, I think, was like 15 at one point. We were hitting shots. It seemed like after halftime, that's when things really started to pick up, because the Thunder started playing better defense. Even though Booker had like 44, 40, whatever it was tonight, 46, it seemed like the energy picked up and the defense picked up for all of them. Starting the game off early, Devin Booker had a steal in which he just stopped and popped the three. Chris Paul and Bismack Biyombo had a nice pick and roll sequence. I think the Suns won an 11-0 run early. Bismack Biyombo had this really nice play where somebody had shot the ball, and the ball tipped off the rim, and Busy put it back, and he got hit with the and one. And then he blocked SGA as well. Both of these teams were trading baskets back and forth, playing physical basketball. And I did want to talk about Landry Shamet, who did make his return today, which was interesting because I remember the last live show. I said something along the lines. I was like, Landry Shamet's injury is weird. And I feel like we haven't really heard much about Landry Shamet's injury besides he'll be reevaluated in a week. Yada, that it seems like his injury took forever, right? And then all of a sudden, they're like, hey, Landry Shamet's back. He's good to go. He's active. Sweet. So let's talk about Landry Shamet for a minute. I thought he looked really good today. Don't get me wrong. I think he got, he had a few fouls here and there. But this was his first real game in what felt like forever. I mean, maybe a couple months. And I thought he looked really good. I thought his energy looked really good. He was trying on defense. One of his first possessions, I think he was in the corner and he drove in and got fouled and went to the free throw line. And then Terrence Ross had this really nice play where Shamet kind of went over to the other side of the court, like the other corner, and Ross drove in, then dished it to him, and he was wide open. And he made the three. So think about that. Think about how Landry Shamet can space the floor along with Devin Booker with Kevin Durant out there and DeAndre Ayton just chilling in the post. That's going to be awesome. If Landry Shamet can have games like he's had today, with a healthy Kevin Durant and a healthy DeAndre Ayton, who I think is out probably for this whole road trip, that's going to be scary. I think Landry Shamet hit another three after the Terrence Ross assist three. As I mentioned, 15-point lead. The Thunder were really struggling closing out threes in this game. We're going to talk about the numbers in a little bit. Suns kept going on runs, but the Thunder didn't go away. And as we kind of talked about, that was when the late third quarter and fourth quarter happened. I just didn't like the way the Suns started the fourth quarter. I mean, I don't even remember when they hit their first shot in the fourth quarter. And they were also missing a lot of shots. Booker seemed to be carrying them in the fourth quarter. By the way, Booker had 17 points in the third, 7 for 13. There was one possession where Booker kind of got trapped a little bit and he fell to the ground, but he had the ball and he passed it to Landry Shamet, and Shamet immediately found Jock Landale under the basket, who flushed it down. Thunder outscored the Suns 18-6 halfway through the fourth quarter. The Suns only made 3 field goals throughout that sequence. The Thunder went 8 for 11. And even though the Suns had a little bit of momentum to finish out the fourth, it was just too much Thunder. It was just too much bad officiating and just too many blown opportunities. I don't know if this loss was more on the Suns or a young, scrappy Thunder team that are trying to make the playoffs. And I do agree with this comment here. We were up 8 when Jock got pulled out and they went on a 18-2 run. Yeah, I thought the rotations were kind of weird tonight too, because the Thunder don't really have a true center right now. I mean, their biggest guy out there was the other Jalen Williams, who I want to talk about later. I think they call him J-Dub or J-Will. And he's only 6'9". So it's not like they have Steven Adams and all that. And whoever, they don't really have a big. So that's another reason why I said, I thought it would have been really interesting for DeAndre Ayton to play in this game. I think he could have feasted tonight. And that's why I think this game was really good for Jock Landale and Bismack Biyombo. Because, again, they don't really have a true big out there. Shot Chucker says, for a team built around ball movement and constant movement, this team relies on ISOs. Yeah. I did see a lot about that as well, because think about it, you guys, pre-KD and even post-KD, when that ball is zipping around and guys are touching it, it usually leads to pretty damn good things for the Phoenix Suns. I didn't see much ball movement out there tonight. And I feel like I already kind of brought up some of the sequences in which the ball was zipping around and the Suns were making and making threes. And I feel like a lot of that kind of slowed down after halftime. I feel like even though we were hitting some threes, I feel like the 3 points were weren't as consistent. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but and yeah, I mean, Coda Kid even says rotations got weird in at the end of the third quarter. I agree with that. Okay. Let's dive into some numbers, y'all. Let me just refresh the page here. Let me take a sip of my drink too. Cheers. All right. Because I kind of went over my notes and everything. But let's get a little positive here. I know that a lot of Suns fans are pissed off and they want to fire Monty Williams and yada yada, and the season's over. I get it. I know how Suns Twitter reacts. But let's get a little positive here. And let's talk about Devin freaking Armani Booker.
Devin Armani Booker.
Devin freaking Booker. It really did seem like he carried us the entire game, right? 46 points tonight in 36 minutes. Take a minute to process that. 46 points in 36 minutes. That's insane. I mean, you guys remember Donovan Mitchell's 71 points, which I think he had to do that in overtime. And then you remember Damian Lillard's 71, which that was, I think, 4 quarters. Devin Booker had 46 points in 36 minutes. I think I jinxed him on the 50, by the way. I tweeted out, I was like, oh, Devin Booker's going for 50, eye emoji, and I think I jinxed it. But damn, 46 points in 36 minutes is amazing. 18 for 28 from the field. He only missed 10 shots. Now, he did have 5 fouls, because of course he did, because the referees hate the Suns. 3 turnovers, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. He hit 3 threes in this game. Went to the free throw line 7 for 8 times. But it was the way that he was doing it tonight. Just so many sequences where he was just getting those mid-range shots, getting those ridiculous drives to the basket where he can't be stopped, attacking, being aggressive, drawing the foul, just doing everything out there. He was just absolutely ridiculous tonight. He literally carried us. Without Devin Booker, I mean, we probably lose this game pretty easily. You know what I mean? It was just simple out there. And I always say this, but I really mean it. Sorry, my webcam's acting a little glitchy, but I always say this, and I truly mean it. I truly mean it the best way I can. Devin Booker just doesn't surprise me anymore. You know what I mean? And I mean that in a good way. Like, he's just ridiculous. He is just so good at scoring the basketball. And he legit carried us. And maybe if it wasn't for the officiating in the terrible fourth quarter, we probably win this game by 20. So Devin Booker was amazing, y'all. I had to kind of just perk up a little bit and talk about something positive in tonight's game. Let's keep going down the list here, y'all, because there's more to talk about. You know what? Besides maybe a few turnovers and a bad few offensive sequences, I thought Torrey Craig was actually pretty good in this game. I think he had a career season high 4 blocks. He had 7 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, by the way. But he did shoot 2 for 7. Wasn't too bad. Josh Okogie, not too much of an impact in this game. Bismack Biyombo did get the start. And I sort of talked about Bismack Biyombo a little bit earlier. He only played 20 minutes in this game, which is also kind of strange. Because, again, we were talking about the rotations at the end of the third quarter and throughout the fourth quarter. But Bismack Biyombo, 7 points, 6 rebounds, as I mentioned. Early in the game, he had a nice little pick and roll action with Chris Paul. And then he had that one play where the ball missed and he back tapped it in. I think he slam dunked it and he got the and one. He's good at setting screens, picking and rolling and all that. I thought Bismack was pretty good in the short amount of time that he played. Chris Paul, the point guard, 33 minutes, 14 points, 13 assists, 3 steals. Late in the game, had a block on Aaron Wiggins, I believe. But then he also missed that one shot kind of late in the fourth. And look, you guys, I hate to admit this, but he is slowing down. I am kind of starting to realize that, not see it. I'm starting to realize that. But I will say this, you guys, 13 assists. Like Chris Paul is literally our quarterback out there. And again, we don't have Kevin Durant and DeAndre Ayton out there either. So if Chris Paul can just calm our guys down, get them the ball where they need to be, score when he can, I think I'm fine with it. I know that there's some people out there that want the Chris Paul era to be over. I don't think like you, but that's just what I'm seeing. I think he's fine until further notice, but I am starting to recognize the slowdown. I haven't really seen an explosive take over Chris Paul in a long time. And that's crazy to say because he finished the game with 14 points and 13 assists. I don't know. Maybe I think differently when it comes to basketball. He played 33 minutes tonight and he missed 10 shots. He only had 1 turnover, by the way. So let me know what y'all thought of Chris Paul tonight. Jock should start. His stats weren't great, but we play well with him out there. I agree with that. And speaking of Jock Lindell, that's a good way to segue here. 15 minutes tonight, 5 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. Definitely want to see some more Jock Lindell minutes while DeAndre Ayton is out. And maybe no longer weird rotations in the second half of the game. You know what I mean? Okay, let's see. Shot Trigger says, bright side, Book, Shamit, and Ross. Everyone else was not good. Yeah, you know what? I think that Terrence Ross actually had a really good game. Because what is Terrence Ross really good at, you guys? Scoring the basketball. He had 12 points in 16 minutes. He had 2 threes. And then, as I mentioned earlier, he had that really nice dime to the wide open Landry Shamit in the corner. I'll take that because we need all the offense we can get while KD's out. And heck, even when KD's back, we need all the offense we can get because there's never too much offense in today's NBA. You know what I mean? Damian Lee had the quietest 6 points that I've ever seen. Campaign had a rough game, although he did have 6 assists. That's actually pretty nice. We already talked about Jock Lindell. Real quick with Ish Wainwright. In 13 minutes, by the way, he literally had a stat line of all zeros except for 3 fouls. He was a +7 in the plus minus. That's hilarious. That's why I hate the plus minus. Maybe I'm stupid, but I don't understand the plus minus. But anyways, I've noticed, though, with Ish Wainwright that he's getting fourth quarter minutes. And I wonder if that's just because he's a dog, you know what I mean? And he works his tail off and he hustles out there and he gives you strength and energy because he played a lot of fourth quarter minutes tonight. So keep your eyes on that, Suns fans. Probably going to see a lot of Ish Wainwright fourth quarter minutes, like when we played Dallas. I mean, he was in there, I think, most of the fourth quarter playing with KD, Book, CP3, whoever else was out there, Ayton and all them. So, but yeah, weird stat line. That's why I don't like plus minuses. +7 in 13 minutes, but your stat line was all zeros. I don't know. Math is hard. I don't get it. Anyways, yeah, we sort of talked about Landry Shamit earlier. I'm glad he's back and everything. He finished the game 20 minutes tonight, 10 points, hit 3 threes, and he had 2 assists. Now, he did have 2 fouls and 2 turnovers. Like I said, there might have been some sequences on defense where he struggled, but I thought that he was working hard out there. He provides you with some good minutes. He gives you some energy here and there. And again, he just plays hard, especially his first game back in forever. I thought he looked pretty good. I'm sure he's exhausted, but I thought he looked pretty good. Real quick, you guys, I just want to check on something. And I do apologize if you guys can hear my dog barking in the background. All right. I think we're going to react to what Monty Williams said here because I just want to hear Monty Williams' side of things. So shout out to Dwayne Rankin, who, shout out to Dwayne Rankin, who, travels on his own and follows the team around and all that. He's kind of like he's one of the beat writers and all that covers the team, especially when they're on the road. So let's hear what Monty Williams had to say after the game. I'm going to plug in my headphones and, I just want to hear what Monty Williams had to say, y'all. Let me just share my screen and we will We will hear what Monty Williams had to say. By the way, you guys, we're already 30 minutes in, so go ahead and crush that like button, y'all. Share the show, even with my embarrassing 5 minutes where the internet wasn't working. So let's listen to Monty Williams, y'all.
And I think we were up 9, maybe 10. That turned into a hand one, and the momentum just shifted. So that was a tough exchange. Instead of just staying at 9 or 10 or going up and getting a really good shot, we gave them momentum. And then, for me, I think this one's on me. I got to get guys in the game that can create a rhythm, especially on defense. We're giving up way too many.
Wait. Let's go back a little bit, y'all. Hold on.
Get guys.
Wait, right here.
This one's on me. I got to get guys in the game that can create a rhythm, especially on defense. We're giving up way too many 30-point quarters.
He's right.
And that's on me. I have to figure out the guys who can play together defensively, as opposed to relying on the starters to increase the momentum from an offensive and defensive standpoint, but getting guys who come into the game that understand what we do defensively. Because we can't keep complaining about the officials when we look at all these teams that we're playing and we're giving up 36 free throws. We just got to be able to guard the ball without slapping down and be okay with that. So it's a tough loss because we felt like we had control of the game.
Curious when you talk about just the.
Okay. He said a couple interesting things here. And again, I know a lot of people are mad at Monty Williams right now, but he said a couple interesting things. Let's fast forward to right here.
This one's on me. I got to get guys.
This one's on me. I got to get guys in the game
that can create a rhythm.
See, even if you're not doing it like offensively, sometimes you just need guys in there that are going to bring the momentum and bring the energy. Kind of why I was talking about Ish Wainwright earlier in his fourth quarter minutes. But maybe he was talking about like a Terrence Ross right there. Or heck, even though it was his first game back in a month, maybe even a Landry Shamet. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what he's talking about right there. But the annoying, okay, and I love Monty Williams. I really do. And I know he's a great guy. He's a great person off the court, yada, yada, yada. But the one thing that's kind of annoying about Monty Williams is when he says, like, I got to get the guys ready. This one's on me. I'm like, it's just frustrating. But he said some things near the end, too. So we're going to fast forward. Let's just replay this. I'll let you guys listen to it again.
This one's on me. I got to get guys in the game that can create a rhythm, especially on defense. We're giving up way too many 30-point quarters consecutively. And that's on me. I have to figure out the guys who can play together defensively as opposed to relying on.
Okay, real quick, you guys. The Suns outscored the Thunder in the first quarter, 31-25. Then they outscored them again. So pretty much in the first half, they outscored them 38-32, 31-25, right? 31-25 first quarter, 38-32 in the second quarter. But here's the thing, y'all. They had 32 points in the second quarter and then 33 and 34, and they outscored us in the second half. So he's right about that. And he also said, we're giving up too many 30-point quarters. So this is like a trend. This is becoming a trend. Well, he said something at the end that he's absolutely right on. So let's keep listening.
Starters to increase the momentum from an offensive and defensive standpoint, but getting guys who come into the game that understand what we do defensively. Because we can't keep complaining about the officials when we look at all these teams that we're playing and we give.
So he's kind of right. Like, yeah, players can complain all they want, and trust me, I even tweeted it out before I went live. I said Monty Williams does need to call out the officials, all that stuff. Booker needs to take the fine. Monty Williams needs to take the fine. But I'm like, I think he's talking about more during the game. Like, get back on defense. Don't get that technical foul. So I kind of get what he's saying there. But let's keep listening.
36 free throws. We just got to be able to guard the ball without slapping down and be okay with that. So it's a tough loss because we felt like we had control of the game.
Yep. So he talked about how, he needs to get guys out there that aren't going to, make contact and draw that foul, especially when they're getting to the free throw line like 36 times. And then he also said it. He was like, this is a tough loss because I felt like we had control of the game. And we did have control of the game because the first half was really good. So again, you guys, this is kind of what I said at the start of the show when I was all messed up because of the internet connection. There's a lot to this game. There's a lot of what ifs, and there's a lot of people to blame. Obviously, the poor officiating, which I'm just going to let you guys and Suns Twitter do all that for me. And then, there's Monty Williams and his weird rotations. And then there's the Suns' terrible 5 minutes in the fourth quarter that they had. And the lack of scoring in a way in the fourth quarter. I mean, we only had 24 points in the fourth quarter. I don't know, you guys. I really don't. Again, this loss just kind of feels like the loss that we had against the Kings prior to that 3-game skid. Does that make sense? This was sort of a game I wanted to win, and we didn't get the win. Let's talk about the box or the team stats real quick. Like I said, a lot of trading baskets in this game. Thunder shot 50%. Suns shot 47.8%. Now, real quick, I mentioned the 3-pointers earlier. It really seemed like in the first half that they just could not stop us from 3. But the Suns finished the game 15 for 36 from 3. That's not bad. I mean, that's great that we got 15 threes in a game. Good enough for 41%, by the way. But it seemed like they stopped kind of going in the fourth quarter. I really believe that. I'd have to go back and look at the tape and all that. But free throw, we talked about the free throws. They got to the free throw line 36 times. They hit 29. We were 17 for 24. They out-rebounded us by 4. I miss you, DeAndre Ayton. Come back soon. We had 30 assists tonight. That's pretty good. We had 9 blocks in this game. They had 16 turnovers. We had 14. We had 31 points off their turnovers, and they crushed us in the paint 56-40. That's weird. That is just so weird. They crushed us in the paint, and their biggest guy out there was 6'9", but I honestly believe that was probably SGA because SGA is ridiculous. He got to the free throw line a lot, was attacking the basket, and was pulling out all of his tricks and everything. That's probably why they crushed us in the paint, but I don't know. That stat stands out to me. And oh my God, the Suns had 31 fouls. 31! So let's talk about the Thunder real quick, y'all. Let me just pull up the box score. I thought I had it, but all right. So let's talk about the Thunder. So these stats real quick come from us over at Bright Side of the Sun. They did the little team previews today, and hopefully you guys can read that too. I just want to talk about the Thunder real quick. We won't spend too much time on this. So they're actually number 3 in points per game at 117 points per game. And I think their offense this season is like one of the best since like 1990, I thought I saw on the broadcast. They're 19 in assists per game. The Suns are 4th in assists per game at 27. They're 15th in rebounding. Let's see what other stats are on here that I'm not going to read you all these stats because that just gets boring. They're 15th in 3-point percentage. The Suns are 7th. By the way, speaking of the Phoenix Suns 3-point percentage, by the way, you guys, they showed on the broadcast, the Suns are leading the NBA in corner threes at 42.8%. That's the best in the NBA. Let's keep going down the list. Thunder are 19th in blocks. The Suns are 11th. They're 3rd in steals per game at 8.4. How many did they have tonight as a team? The Thunder had, where is it? I can't read. The Thunder had 8 steals, so that they hit their average pretty much of steals per game. What other stats stand out here? They're 5th in turnovers. Obviously, we saw a lot of that tonight from them. So I guess what I'm trying to say here, you guys, is you see the stats. You've seen how, maybe on the exception of, last game when we like blew them out and everything, you see how the Thunder have been playing this year, and you see that they are just a solid team. And I tweeted this out earlier, even before the game was over, and I really meant it, you guys. Do not be surprised if the Thunder make the play-in tournament or maybe even the playoffs. They are a really young, scrappy bunch. They're well coached. They're great on offense, and they play hard. And they got SGA, who apparently can go to the free throw line like a billion times. And they're really good, y'all. And we play them one more time. It feels like a playoff series. We play them one more time before the season ends. And as my friend John from the Sens Jam Session podcast, who was in the chat earlier, said, we have a tough schedule coming up. And let me just read you guys some of the teams that we're going to be playing. And I feel like I do this every live show, but it's getting important. Like, these are the games that come down the stretch that we're going to need to win every game, because playoff seeding is important. So our next game's against the Lakers, Wednesday, March 22nd. I'll be live. Some of you guys might remember my friend Reliable Rants. He's going to be joining me. He's the biggest Lakers fan that I know. Former YouTuber, by the way, former content creator. Then Friday, we play the Kings. They're obviously one of the best teams in the West this season. Then the next day, we come home to play the 76ers and Joel Embiid. They've won 8 straight at the time of this recording. Joel Embiid should win MVP. Then we play the Jazz, then the Timberwolves, then the Nuggets, then the Thunder again, then the Spurs, then the Nuggets, then the Lakers, and the Clippers. Think of those teams that I just said, y'all. That is a tough schedule to end the season. We need KD back. We need DeAndre Ayton back. We need to quit letting SGA and Giannis go to the free throw line like a billion times. We need to quit turning the ball over and having terrible fourth quarters and giving up 30 plus per quarter, like Monty Williams said. So I think that's it for me, y'all. Sorry for the internet connection trouble. I'm going to fix that immediately. Unfortunately, the live stream needs to fully process, and then I can cut it out, but I'll put it in the chat and everything. I'll say fast forward to the 6-minute mark. I don't know what happened. I literally did my countdown, and the internet just went. I even saw my lights flicker and everything. It was nuts. So I will be live. When is it? Wednesday against the Lakers. I'll be joined by Reliable Rants. Also, you guys, for anybody who cares, I saw Scream 6 last night, and I consider myself a pretty big fan of that franchise. And I loved it. I thought it was a really great horror movie. It was super intense. Slasher films like that don't really like scare me. Movies like The Conjuring scare me, you know what I mean? But this was more like intense. There was a few good jump scares. But it was really intense, lots of twists and turns. It's obviously one of those movies you're like, who's the killer? Which one's the killer? But it was great. I really enjoyed the movie. Big fan of the franchise. Jenna Ortega and great cast and all of them. If they can keep going like this, like, I don't know what they're going to do for Scream 7. I really don't. I mean, they're not really going to run out of ideas necessarily, but I'm like, I don't know where they're going to go with Scream 7, but I will say this. I kind of enjoyed the first half of Scream 6 better than I enjoyed Screams or the end of Scream 6. Does that make sense? But it was good. I mean, it was a good all-around movie. I kind of want to revisit Scream 5 and then go see Scream 6 again and see which one I like better. But overall, I love the Scream franchise. I consider myself a decent fan. Although, if you can't tell by my Funko Pops back here, I'm a bigger Chucky fanboy and, Halloween, Michael Myers fanboy. But so, yeah, again, I apologize for the internet connections today. I don't know what happened. One-man show here, y'all. I do apologize. And strap in, Suns fans. Schedule's not going to get any easier, and we can't have games like this. So I'm out of here, y'all. I slightly updated the new outro like I did last time. I created a new little end card outro. I slightly updated it. So I'm going to leave it at that. Hope you guys enjoyed the live show. Once again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. God bless you guys. Stay safe out there. Ooh, real quick, before we get out of here, actually, quick update on Sean. If you guys remember, I talked about that in my live show, made a whole video about that. His story went viral. He was on Fox 10 News today, I believe. His mom tweeted out a picture. So I'm sure there's going to be an interview. Andrew Leesus had him on his podcast and all that, so he's a great kid. So shout out to Sean and that whole story and everything. So like I said, y'all, God bless you guys. Stay safe out there. Be kind to people. Love people. Don't bully people on Twitter. Don't bully people in real life. Just be nice to people, y'all. Be the bigger person. Walk away, you know what I mean? And just help people. But I love you guys. I'm out of here. Enjoy the new outro. No matter what, win or lose, Phoenix Suns for life. God bless you guys. Peace out and go Suns.
What's up, son? Geek?